Pierce Brosnan is known around the world as one of the most iconic James Bond actors of all time. He's handsome, charming, and confident. But what most people don't know is that behind the cool and smooth 007 image is a man who has faced more pain, heartbreak, and loss than most could ever imagine. His story is one of survival, strength, and second chances. From a broken childhood to worldwide fame, from personal tragedies to historic success, Pierce Brosnan's life has been anything but easy. And it all started in a small town in Ireland. Pierce Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953, in Drogheda, Ireland. He never knew his father, who left so early that Pierce couldn't even remember his face. His mother, May, worked as a nurse, doing everything she could to provide for her son. When Pierce was just 4, his mother made a heartbreaking decision. She left Ireland to find work in London, hoping to create a better future. But that meant leaving her son behind. What was meant to be a short separation turned into 7 long years. During that time, Pierce was passed from one relative to another. He stayed with his grandparents, then with an uncle and aunt. Each place came with new people, new rules, and a new school. There was no stability, no comfort, and no real home. He learned to keep to himself. He was quiet, observant, and always careful. Teachers said he was smart, but he seemed distant, lost in thought. He wasn't the loud kid in the room. He was the one who sat in the back, watching everything, saying little. That kind of loneliness leaves a mark on a person. By age 11, Pierce's life changed again. His mother had remarried and brought him to live with her and her new husband, William Carmichael, in Scotland. William was kind and patient, trying to be a father figure without forcing it. He taught Pierce small things, like how to fish and fix stuff and how to trust. For a boy who had known only chaos, it was strange to feel safe. Then came a moment that would change Pierce's world. In 1964, William took him to see the film Goldfinger, starring Sean Connery as James Bond. For young Pierce, it was like seeing a superhero on screen, strong, confident, and in control. Bond became the man Pierce secretly wished he could be. At 16, Pierce dropped out of school in London and enrolled in St. Martin's School of Art. He had no money and no plan. He just wanted to paint. He was inspired by famous artists like Francis Bacon and Lucian Freud. He lived on tea and toast, often feeling like an outsider among wealthier students. Acting wasn't even on his mind. That changed by accident in 1971. While still studying art, Pierce stumbled into a theater workshop in South London. A performer was practicing fire eating, and Pierce, curious and bold, asked to try it. The group saw something in him, a presence, a boldness, and invited him to join. Just like that, acting became his new passion. He joined the Drama Centre, London in 1973, one of the toughest acting schools in the country. Most students quit. The training was intense, sometimes brutal. Teachers would break students down emotionally to push them further. Pierce worked side jobs, studied hard, and trained in everything from mime to circus performance. He couldn't afford it, but he found a way. In 1976, he landed his first major role in a stage play called Wait Until Dark. His performance was cold and eerie, exactly what the director wanted. A year later, he starred in a Tennessee Williams play that had failed in America but was a hit in London. Thanks in part to Pierce's performance, the industry started noticing him. His film career began slowly. In 1980, he had a blink-and-you-miss-it role in The Mirror Cracked, earning just $50. That same year, he appeared in The Long Good Friday with Helen Mirren and Bob Hoskins, playing a small role. The film would later become a classic, but at the time, Pierce was still just a background actor. Everything changed in 1982. He auditioned for a role in a new TV show called Remington Steele. Not the lead, just a murder victim. But NBC's casting team saw something special. They offered him the lead instead. He wasn't what they had in mind at all. Young, Irish, and unknown in America. But he had charm and screen presence. The show became a hit. It aired in more than 80 countries and pulled in huge ratings. People around the world loved Remington Steele. The character was mysterious, clever, and funny, and Pierce brought him to life perfectly. By 1983, critics and fans were saying he should be the next James Bond. Bond producer Albert Broccoli noticed too. Pierce even met him while visiting his wife, Cassandra Harris, on the set of For Your Eyes Only. Cassandra had a small role in the film and introduced Pierce to Broccoli. The producer was impressed, but the timing wasn't right. When Roger Moore was unsure about returning for A View to a Kill, Brosnan was seriously considered, but Moore agreed to return, and the offer disappeared. In 1986, Remington Steele was canceled. Brosnan was finally free to become Bond. But just as the role was within reach, NBC changed its mind and revived the show for a short 5th season. Brosnan was still under contract and had to stay. The Bond role went to Timothy Dalton. Between 1986 and 1994, Brosnan continued acting. These were known as his lost years by fans, but he never stopped working. He starred in movies like The Fourth Protocol and Nomads. He even did Diet Coke commercials where he played a Bond-like hero in a tuxedo. Behind the scenes, Brosnan was focused on something much more important: his family. He had married Cassandra Harris in 1980, and they had a son named Sean. He also adopted Cassandra's 2 children, Charlotte and Christopher, after their biological father passed away. Pierce had grown up without a dad. He was determined to be the father he never had. In 1987, while filming in India, Pierce received horrible news. Cassandra was seriously ill. They returned to London, and she was diagnosed with advanced ovarian cancer, the same disease that had killed her mother. Over the next 4 years, she went through surgeries and chemotherapy. She was brave, always deciding how she wanted to handle her treatment. Pierce never left her side. Their son Sean, only a child at the time, would pretend to be a doctor, trying to help in the only way he knew how. In December 1991, the day after Christmas, Cassandra passed away at just 43 years old. Pierce was heartbroken. He had to tell his 8-year-old son that his mother was gone and raise 3 children on his own. He later said it was the first time he truly understood what grief felt like. In 1994, Brosnan finally got the role that had haunted him for over a decade. He was cast as James Bond. The timing was emotional. Cassandra had once played a Bond girl and had always believed he would be perfect for the role. His first film, GoldenEye, was a massive gamble. The Bond franchise was struggling, MGM was nearly bankrupt, and expectations were sky high. But GoldenEye became a global hit, earning over $350 million and saving the franchise. One of the most famous scenes was a 220-meter bungee jump, which Brosnan did himself because no insurance company would cover it. He went on to star in 3 more Bond films: Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. Together they made over $1.2 billion. The stunts were wild and expensive. One car chase in Tomorrow Never Dies cost $12 million. For Die Another Day, they used a real ice palace built with 1,000 tons of ice and an invisible Aston Martin worth $300,000. During one parasailing stunt, Brosnan nearly died from hypothermia and had to be rushed to the hospital. Still, he kept pushing the limits. In 1996, he won the Saturn Award for Best Actor, beating even Sean Connery. It was the first time a Bond actor had outshined a former one in a major award. But while his career soared, his personal life remained full of pain. In 2013, his adopted daughter Charlotte died of the same cancer that took her mother. She was only 41. Pierce was crushed. Losing Cassandra had nearly broken him. Losing Charlotte reopened old wounds. Now, at 71, Pierce Brosnan lives with the weight of those losses. He has spoken about fearing that cancer might one day come for him too. Still, he smiles, he acts, and he gives back. He's an advocate for cancer awareness, hoping to help others avoid the same pain. His life has been filled with unbelievable highs and heartbreaking lows. Fame, fortune, and awards never erase the loneliness of his childhood or the sorrow of losing his wife and daughter. But through it all, Pierce Brosnan kept going. He showed the world that real strength doesn't come from playing a spy on screen. It comes from surviving what life throws at you when the cameras stop rolling. If you found this story moving or surprising, you can share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know which part of Pierce Brosnan's life stood out the most to you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories.